There are places on this earth where ancient mysteries seem to seep into the very air, entangling themselves in the delicate web of reality. Some of these places are so remote, so untouched by modern life, that even the most hardened skeptics must pause. One such place is the Amazon rainforest. And tonight, we're taking you deep into a terrifying mystery that has haunted those who've dared to tread too far into its dense, unyielding depths. What these soldiers discovered cannot be unseen. Welcome to the Nightside Archive. This is the Silent Sentinel of the Amazon Fog. It began in the summer of 1998. A small platoon of soldiers was dispatched to the Amazon basin by their government. Their mission: to investigate mysterious communications breakdowns and supply disruptions reported by researchers stationed at several remote observation posts. These men were veterans in their craft, battle-hardened, unshaken by most of what the world could throw at them. But nothing could prepare them for what they were about to experience. The dense vegetation closed in around them mere hours after entering the heart of the rainforest. If you've never been in the Amazon, you might imagine towering trees and singing birds. And sure, that's all there. But it's also an untamed labyrinth. Each step feels like a gamble, brushing against things sharp, poisonous, or perhaps watching you from the shadows. As the soldiers moved deeper into the jungle, an unsettling quiet began to envelop the area. The usual hum of the rainforest night, the chirps, croaks, buzzing, began to fade. It was as though someone had turned the volume of nature down to zero. The silence was unnatural, heavy, and oppressive. Only their footsteps and the faint crackling of the radio broke the eerie quiet. They noticed something else. The fog. A dense, bone-white fog began to roll in from nowhere, despite the warm, humid air. At first, they dismissed it as a natural weather phenomenon, but this fog felt alive. It clung to the soldiers, moving in ways that didn't match the wind, almost as if it had intentions of its own. As the temperature dropped, the men became uneasy. Seasoned soldiers rarely admit fear, but this fog unnerved them. Their guide, an indigenous tracker named Elio, stopped suddenly. He whispered something in his native language, but the soldiers couldn't understand. Elio's face was stricken with sheer dread. His hands shook as he gestured for them to turn back. "Some things should not be pursued," he finally said in broken Spanish. But the team leader pressed on. Orders were orders. About a mile later, they reached the first outpost, a small shack meant to house 2 researchers. The door was open, swinging gently as though it was expecting them. No lights, no signs of life, only that pervasive silence hanging around like an invisible curse. Inside, they found the radio equipment broken into fragments, almost deliberately smashed. Personal belongings, undisturbed, no signs of a robbery. What chilled them was the food on the table, half-eaten, like whoever had been eating just disappeared mid-bite. No tracks led away from the shack, just the fog, seeping in through cracks. By the 4th day, the company had grown quieter. The fog seemed to follow them, even in areas it shouldn't have logically been. They saw moving shadows in their peripheral vision, shadows that shouldn't have been there, given the dim light of their lanterns. The team leader ordered extra night patrols for safety, but that only led to more strange reports. One soldier, Josue, said he heard footsteps coming toward him during his watch. Slow, deliberate, but wrong, he would later say. When he shone his flashlight, no one was there. Another soldier swore he saw a figure just standing at the edge of the tree line, a towering silhouette that seemed to be built out of the fog itself. Its glowing eyes stared through him before dissipating like it was never truly there. On the 6th night, the fog thickened until it was impenetrable. Elio, calm and resourceful up to this point, stopped walking. "We're not alone," was all he said before backing into the group. Moments later, they heard it, a low hum vibrating through the earth. At first subtle, then growing louder, closer. The noise didn't sound mechanical, and it wasn't a growl. It was like something organic, alive, breathing, but wrong, very wrong. Suddenly, screaming erupted from the back of their group. One of the soldiers had vanished. They searched frantically, calling his name, but all they found was his rifle. Dropped in the mud. No signs of struggle. No tracks leading away, just that cursed fog, clinging to their boots and rifles. Terrified, but determined, they pushed ahead the next day. But what they found behind the second outpost would break whatever resolve they had left. A circle of the forest floor had been scorched black. The vegetation burned away. In its center sat a series of upright, human-sized stones. They bore markings no expert back home could later identify. Shapes that twisted unnaturally when glanced at too long. The air here was thick, heavy with an odor they couldn't place. The team returned to the outside world with half their original manpower. The missing were never recovered, officially listed as MIA, but each of the surviving members spoke of the fog. They swore unanimously that despite clearing the jungle, it followed them. Elio, the guide, claimed he wouldn't set foot in the Amazon ever again, believing the soldiers had angered whatever watched within the mist. The stones were photographed, studied, and archived, then quietly buried by both bureaucracy and nature. The official report, blanketed under claims of unknown environmental phenomena. But here's the thing, they weren't the first and wouldn't be the last to report such occurrences. Accounts eerily similar have trickled out from travelers, researchers, and even illegal loggers who've braved the jungle. Each time, the fog, the silence, the shadows, and something else, something unexplainable lurking just out of focus. What could it be? A sentient entity that uses the mist as its camouflage. A leftover from a long-forgotten civilization that demands isolation. Or are we merely witnessing nature fighting back in a way we can't comprehend? Whatever walks with the fog in the Amazon, it walks silently. It watches, and as the records show, it does not forgive trespassers. Until next time, travelers, stay vigilant. This is the Nightside Archive, signing off.